All right, back to it now as we continue the great conversations we have here, trying to bring you the best guests for all the best information. And so my next guest, Doug Blair, is a conservative commentator and the author of the Blair Broadcast. Doug, nice to have you here.
For having me on, Steve. Very much appreciate your time this morning.
Well, great to have you. You're from Portland, right? That's
Yes,
my understanding. You are from Portland. And so to hear the left tell it, there's no problem in Portland. Portland's like a dream city, the place where everybody wants to go and live and retire. What's the truth?
Yeah, it's not quite so good as that. Now, I think it's important to put some context here. It's not like Iraq. It's not like, Chirac or Chicago, but it's not in good state. And I wrote about this where one of the problems is that Portland's leadership has let it get this bad. As long as I've been living there, there's been a homelessness crisis, a drug crisis, and that has only kind of gotten worse over the past couple of years. And instead of actually acting and making decisions that will benefit the city leadership has decided that they're going to stick their hands in their fingers, say la la la, raise taxes and say everything's fine. I think this is why President Trump is absolutely correct to say that there does need to be federal intervention, because there are lots of people in the city who don't accept this, who don't tolerate the lawlessness, the crime, the drug use that has been allowed to go rampant, and they're being shouted down by crazed leftists who would prefer to say, I'm a good person for letting a homeless man shoot up in the street than allow Donald Trump to get a win.
Let's talk about things like crime, homelessness, unemployment, drug use you mentioned. Give me a front row seat. Put me in the room.
Yeah, so I think the best example of how bad this has gotten, there used to be a really nice trail, a biking trail. Portland's obviously a big biking city, called the Springwater Corridor. And a few years ago, there was an incident where a 4-year-old girl was almost abducted from the biking trail by a homeless woman that was living in a tent city, legitimately a tent city with thousands of people living in it, that was posted right off of the trail. And instead of taking this seriously, city leadership decided to try and kind of put the kibosh on it. They tried to not talk about it. But until angry residents were so despondent that this lovely trail had been conquered by homeless people, nothing would have changed. And I think that that's where this messaging around Portland is a war zone is coming from, because until it gets brought to light, until federal leadership is willing to say this is unacceptable, they're just willing to let it go. So front row seat to it right now is there's violence in the streets. If you're a political conservative, if you're a political non-leftist, you will get attacked by Antifa. If you're a business that doesn't support these types of things, like you don't put the red mark around your door of BLM or Pride, you will get your windows shattered. It's not acceptable for a major American city to have these standards, and it's not allowable for Americans who just want to go about their day to have to suffer in silence.
Well, why is the left enamored with crime and violence and drug use and everything else? It seems to me, we just played a tape here from the dispatch center in Chicago. They're denying that they refused to send police to help the ICE agents that were in peril here a couple of days ago, and yet the tape is very clear. They were told to stand down. Those, as the guy comes back on the radio and says, those are the orders we're getting. And you hear the dispatcher stop sending a whole bunch of cars, calls them off one by one, says, yeah, don't go. I mean, why is the left so enamored with crime that do they hate Trump more than they love their own cities and their own places?
I mean, it's kind of surreal, but yes, I think that you have this sense of Trump derangement syndrome, where people are willing to let their cities burn to the ground in front of them, businesses. And again, I think this is the fascinating part. So Portland during the 2020 riots, a lot of the businesses and a lot of the houses that were impacted were of minorities. They were of Black people. And for people who keep saying, oh, we're all about, minority rights, we're all about Black Lives Matter, the people that are getting impacted by these decisions are the very groups that they're saying that they want to protect. So even when those groups are being disproportionately impacted by this violence, by this crime, they don't care, because they don't want Donald Trump to look good. It's frustrating because I can talk with people, my friends back home, and I can say something like, don't you want clean streets? Don't you want less drug use out in the open? Don't you want less homeless people harassing you on your way to work? And they say, well, yeah, but I just don't want Donald Trump to be the one to do it. I would have rather that Biden had done it. And it's kind of shocking that there's that open about it.
Yeah, but Biden didn't do it. That's the point. The border was wide open. Drugs flowed in. 100,000 Americans died from preventable let me say this, preventable drug overdoses if fentanyl had not been allowed into our country. Now Donald Trump is taking drug-running boats from Venezuela and vaporizing them. And by the way, I believe we're going to be getting a lot more involved in Venezuela to stop the drug cartels. I've also seen in Los Angeles the arrest of numerous leaders of the cartels from Mexico in the last 48 hours. Donald Trump is doing what people want. The number one job of government, in my estimation, Doug, is to protect its citizens. It's a pretty simple equation, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I think that that's what the founders would envision as well, that for the common good and for the will of the people, government should be established amongst men. And the idea that a government can be so unresponsive to its citizenry and expect to maintain power is completely asinine. I think one of the things that Portland really needs to recognize is that they are American citizens. You can have the mayor of Portland, you can have the governor of Oregon, you can have all these city officials who say, well, it's my personal belief that homeless people should be able to kill themselves in public. But if their citizenry don't want that, then they should expect that the federal government will step in to protect the rights of those citizens that are not being protected. And I am somewhat disappointed in my colleagues on the left, and especially a lot of my friends back home in Portland, who continue to enable this out of a sense of Trump derangement syndrome. It's
just bizarre. Yeah, it's just bizarre. Doug, really appreciate you being here. Doug Blair, you can find him on the Blair Broadcast. Doug, thank you for bringing us some insight.
Thank you so much.
Really appreciate it. Well, if you got a well in your yard and you live in the northern half of the United States, you're halfway to a geothermal system to save yourself tons of money. Well Connect is an add-on. It doesn't replace your furnace or air conditioning. It's an add-on that can cut your heating costs by half, your air conditioning costs almost completely. It's the fastest, most affordable way to bring geothermal home. You can learn more right now at wellconnectgeo.com. And this is important what I'm about to say. There are subsidies available now through the end of the year that are going to go away because of the big, beautiful bill. If you want a geothermal system in your house right now and you have a well in your yard and you're using propane or heating oil, you want to save a ton of money. wellconnectgeo.com. Made in America, built for your well. wellconnectgeo.com. I'll be right back.